Welcome to Sabs podcast. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. So guys, I do not have a Q&A question today because I do have a couple announcements that I want to make. First announcement, if you have sent me any type of email or DM and I have not responded, my apologies. I have been super busy this past week and I'm trying to catch up on emails and DMs. So hopefully I'll be through all of those by the end of this week. The next thing that I wanted to let you know about is Professor Richard Wolf will be with me on Thursday. I'm looking really forward to that interview. So guys, definitely check that out. I've been waiting to talk to him for a while. So today's news. So Nikole Hannah-Jones, you may remember this story about her from a couple of weeks ago. She was denied tenure from the University of North Carolina, but recently they have decided to offer her tenure and she has declined. Now, some of you know that I work in higher education, so this story really hits me like right here because I have a lot of experience with this, especially when it comes to Black faculty not getting tenure at predominantly white institutions. Nikole is not an outlier. There are more who are like her, and there are reasons for that. And I want to get into that a little bit later. But for those of you who don't know the backstory, I want to show you that first. So listen to this.
So Nikole Hannah-Jones is a Pulitzer Prize winning investigative journalist for the New York Times who was hired earlier this spring to join the faculty at UNC Chapel Hill in their journalism school. The position has historically been tenured, meaning it's a lifetime appointment that essentially protects professors' academic freedom and their job, no matter how controversial their work might be. But in January, the UNC Board of Trustees did not approve her tenure. They actually never voted on it. And so she accepted the position as a fixed-term contract. That issue has since sparked national controversy. As you said, hundreds of scholars, alumni, students, and faculty have sort of raised concerns and defended Hannah-Jones, suggesting that conservative politicians may be behind the decision to not grant her tenure, and particularly because of her work for the 1619 Project, which explores the legacy of slavery and Black Americans in this country. And then this week, the latest development is that the UNC board received a resubmission for Nikole Hannah-Jones' tenure, and so it's officially back in their hands. And then just yesterday, Nikole Hannah-Jones and her team of lawyers actually sent a letter to the UNC Chapel Hill administration as well as state lawmakers saying that they're considering legal action based on discrimination of her work and her race. So that's kind of where it stands now.
So I work in higher ed. I've worked in higher ed for years. And one of the things that I have noticed at PWIs, predominantly white institutions, is that number one, there is a lack of representation when it comes to faculty members, Black faculty members of color in general. And that is something that universities have had a problem with for a while. What I have noticed, and I have a background in DEI, is that it seems like to me, the hiring committees for these tenure track faculty positions also lack representation. And at the same time, they tend to have this perception that if they have that one Black faculty member in a department, that they're all set, they have diversity. That's not how diversity works. That's actually not diversity. That's tokenism. And this is something that Black faculty have experienced at PWIs, and they've been vocal about it. And because of these experiences, it makes these universities have more of a difficult time trying to recruit underrepresented minorities for faculty positions. So I just wanted to let you know about that because it's important that you know that this is a problem across the board. This is not just a problem at UNC. So I want to make sure that you're aware of that. Now, What's the difference between tenure track, lecturer, adjunct faculty? These are all different. When a faculty member has a tenure track position, it puts them on the path to get tenure. Not everybody or not every faculty member at universities is tenure track. Some faculty members are lecturers. Lecturers are not tenure track. Lecturers actually are known for having heavy teaching loads. So their work focuses more on the teaching. They'll still have some research, but their research is not on par to get tenure. They're not where they need to be with their research to get tenure. And then you have adjunct faculty. Adjunct faculty are known for maybe teaching a class or two at a university. Oftentimes, they're not full-time faculty members, and sometimes they're not eligible for university benefits. So there are different types. Most of the time, though, the tenure track faculty usually get tenure. They can still deny it, but usually they do. But it is a problem with Black faculty members at PWIs. Look at what Harvard did to Cornell West. Cornell West, of all people. This is already having effects at UNC. This is already causing issues. Listen to this.
The University of North Carolina is paying a huge price since the denial of tenure to Nikole Hannah-Jones, who just announced hours ago that she will not begin her position at UNC and will not take the position without tenure. The college is losing its women professors and staff of color. So far, 3 professors and staff of color have announced that they're leaving UNC, while others are also considering leaving amid what they say is a larger trend of undervaluing Black voices at the university.
People are already starting to leave. I'm not surprised. Again, this is something that has been discussed at PWIs repeatedly for a long time. It is a problem. When you have Black people in these positions and you treat them in such a way that basically tells them that you don't value their voice, you don't value their opinion, and in this instance, you don't really value their research, you make them leave. That makes them want to go away. And that doesn't make other Black people want to come to that institution. It's a problem. Now, you're probably wondering, why did she not accept the tenure offer now? So she was recently on Gayle King, and she explains herself. Listen to this.
What have you decided to do? We just heard the vote was 9-4, offering you the tenure. What have you decided?
Well, I've decided to decline the offer of tenure. I will not be teaching on the faculty of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. It's a very difficult decision, not a decision I wanted to make. And instead, I'm going to be the inaugural Knight Chair in Race and Journalism at Howard University.
So many things to unpack there. First, let's start with you declining the offer. The vote was 9-4, clearly in your favor. There are some people that could say, you said you wouldn't take the job without being offered tenure. They offered you the tenure, and you're still saying, thanks, but no.
Absolutely.
Because?
Well, because look what it took to get tenure. So this was a position that since the 1980s came with tenure. The Knight Chairs are designed for professional journalists who have been working in the field to come into academia. And every other chair before me, who also happened to be white, received that position with tenure.
It had never been denied. No one had ever been denied tenure before.
Exactly. And I went through the tenure process, and I received the unanimous approval of the faculty to be granted tenure. And so to be denied it and to only have that vote occur on the last possible day, at the last possible moment, after threat of legal action, after weeks of protest, after it became a national scandal, it's just not something that I want anymore.
It's funny to me how Gayle framed those questions. Gayle made it sound like, well, why would you not want to? And Gayle's a Black woman. She does that sometimes, though, when Black people come on her show as a guest. She does that. She makes it seem like they're the one that is in the wrong when we can all see clearly here what the problem is? Do I think that she should accept the offer now? Hells no. Guys, look at what she had to go through to get it. She had to file a lawsuit. She had to go public. She had to go to the press to get the vote. Guys, that's just to get the vote. And now they want to come back and they want to say, okay, yeah, we're going to go ahead and offer it to you. No, they are only doing this to cover for themselves. They're only doing this to save the reputation of the university. Guys, I work in higher ed for years. I know how it works. Yeah, she wanted to be offered tenure, but not like that. Why did she have to go through all that? Why? When people ask about tenure, here's something I want to make very clear to people. Tenure is based on your teaching, your research, some aspects that you've done within the community. You have to have a level of excellence. But that being said, I've seen faculty members get tenure that do not have excellent teaching skills, but they have excellent research. Tenure weighs heavily on your research. So if she met all the qualifications, which from what I read, she has, she should have been offered it back then, not after she has done all of this to get it. This is part of the reason why we don't have more Black faculty at PWIs, because they do stuff like this. Because they think that diversity means having at least just one Black person in the department. You have one, you're good, you're all set. They think that having diversity means having, just one Black faculty member be tenured. We're all set. You have to look at who's on the hiring committees. You have to look at who's on the tenure committees, who approves these. Not many Black people. The University of North Carolina, this is a public school. It's a great school. Last time I checked, UNC was in the top 30. And if this happened at UNC, I could only imagine what would happen at some of these elite private institutions to someone like her. So I don't think that she should be shamed now for turning it down, because that's not how you give someone an offer. They shouldn't have to fight tooth and nail for it when they had the requirements. It's not how you do it. And she had a journalism background. They didn't stop and think that she knows how the press works. She knew how to get her story out. So I'm happy that she turned it down. Some people may not be. But I want to hear from you guys. How do you feel about this? Do you think that she should have accepted the tenure offer after everything that's happened? Or do you think that she should have turned it down? Let me know. Comment below.